The Adorne under-cabinet lighting system is a fully customizable and modular solution for providing power, lighting, and music. The system is compliant with national and local electric codes and is compatible with any kitchen layout and home wiring. We have covered the DIY plug-in control box installation and the wiring of a 2-gang control box. In this video, we will review more advanced methods to wire the Adorne under-cabinet system. There are many different types of kitchen layouts. The Adorne under-cabinet system is flexible to work in a variety of configurations. Here are several examples of different kitchen designs, as well as recommended wiring schematics. Use these as a guideline when planning your particular installation. In our kitchen, we need two 20-amp circuits for our small appliances. We also want to control all of the under-cabinet lights from a switch located in the wall. On the left of our cooktop, we will hardwire the modular track using a direct wire connector. On the right, we will use another direct wire connector and hardwire a 1-gang control box. Single-gang control boxes can be used to house a dimmer, a GFCI, or other switches. In this application, we want to move a switch for a garbage disposal off of the backsplash for a clean look. The modular track is mounted the same way, regardless of which control box is selected, and was covered in our previous video. Before attempting to install any of the hardwired Adorne under-cabinet lighting system power control boxes, make sure that you understand basic wiring principles and techniques, can interpret wiring diagrams, have circuit wiring experience. Do not apply power to the Adorne under-cabinet lighting system until all components are properly installed and all wiring is properly terminated. If you do not understand these instructions or are unsure of your abilities, seek the assistance of a qualified electrician. This video is for demonstration purposes only and may not duplicate your particular home wiring. To prevent shock or electrocution, always turn the power off at the service panel before working with wiring. The first step in configuring our kitchen installation is to create an electrical schematic such as this one. It shows both our 20-amp receptacle circuits and the circuits that control the lighting and accessories of the Adorne under-cabinet system. Receptacle circuit number 1 is located on the right side of our cooktop. We will use a 12-2 non-metallic sheathed cable for our feed. And we'll also have a 14-2 feed for a switch which will power a garbage disposal. This switch will be housed in a single-gang control box. Receptacle circuit number 2 is located on the left side of the cooktop. All of our lights will be controlled from a wall switch. To feed this section of modular track, we will run a 12-2 to a direct wire fitting. The direct wire fitting can be used to wire modular tracks without using a large control box. This fitting can be used when lighting is switched from other locations within a room, and GFCI protection is offered either at the panel or elsewhere within the room. The lighting and accessory circuits are run together by bringing separate feeds in the wall back to the wall switch. To roughen these wires, we will pull 14-3 non-metallic sheathed cables. These 4 wire cables are important as they provide both circuits, one for the switched lights and the other for the accessories such as audio or USB charging, which are not switched. Our rough wiring for the wall switch and the direct wire fittings on each side of the cooktop will look like this. Once roughing is complete, we are now ready to install our components. The single-gang control boxes have the optional knockout that allows positioning of the control box over a single-gang wall box. This feature helps to accommodate added wiring volume when making multiple connections and is recommended for our application. To properly locate the box, make sure the top edge is always directly underneath the cabinet frame. Strip the sheathing off the non-metallic cable. Once removed, lay out and label your wires. On the 12-2 cable feed, label the black and white wires as receptacle. Each connector comes with a unique identification label that also shows its proper installed orientation. If a control box is installed on the right of a modular track, use the right connector with the orange label. If installing a control box on the left of a modular track, use the left connector with the yellow label. Each pigtail connector is keyed to prevent improper insertion. If oriented properly, keys will always be on the top. Once you have selected the proper connector, the label can be removed to make wiring easier. To install the connector, bend the wires at a right angle and insert the pigtail into the modular track. We are now ready to make the connections. Make sure to stagger where the connections fall inside the box. We start with our ground wires. These are bare and green-colored wires. Use wire nuts to connect the 12-2 wires labeled receptacle on the connector pigtail. Our lighting feed is coming from the opposite side of the kitchen, therefore the red, blue, and white with black striped wires on the pigtail connector are not used here. Use a wire nut or electrical tape to cap off each wire. When using wire nuts, be sure to use the proper size for your application. Once wires have been capped, bend wires out of the way. In order to install these devices, you must use the included adapter frames. Each frame has its own ground wire. Connect this ground to the long ground we created earlier. Attach the adapter frame to front plate with supplied screws. Connect the white wires and place connection into the control box. Snap in the spacers that came with the switch. The remaining wires are now connected to the adorne paddle switch. Once connected, snap the device into its frame. Make sure all other wire connections are properly placed inside the box and ensure clearance for the device. The adorne under-cabinet lighting system can be wired with the direct wire fitting using GFCI protection from other areas and switching from wall locations. We have one of these fittings on either side of our cooktop. These fittings are good for entering and exiting the modular track and should not have more than 2 cables feeding each fitting due to its limited volume. The fitting comes with all necessary connectors and hardware. Connect the direct wire fitting to modular track using a coupling that came with the adjoining track. Tighten set screws. Install cable bushings and plugs from the rear as shown. Pull cable through each bushing and then position the modular track and secure in place. Once all wires are in position, you can label the wires. To wire using the direct wire fitting, insert the proper connector into the modular track. We are now ready to make the connections. On the right side of the cooktop, we only have one 14-3 cable. This will only connect 2 lighting and accessory circuits. Not all wires on the pigtail connector will be used. To make wiring easier, it is important to position the wire connections in a staggered manner, otherwise it will be difficult to install the fitting cover. To do this, identify a good location, then pre-fold your wires, then trim and strip the wires. We start with our ground wires. These are bare and green-colored wires. The base of the fitting comes with a ground lead installed. Tie the ground wire together using a wire nut designed for grounding. The white wire and white and black striped wire then get connected. The black wire from the 14-3 and the blue wire from the connector get tied together. Both red wires now get connected. The remaining wires will be capped off. Follow the same process to connect the left side of the kitchen. In this fitting, we have circuit number 2 as well. In this case, all wires of the pigtail connector will be used. The 14-3 lighting feeds are terminated at our wall switch. Connect the switch following the instructions in our video on our website. Before we install the fitting covers, it is a good idea to test the wiring to make sure all connections were done correctly. Make sure all wiring is complete and turn on the circuit breaker. Check the function of the receptacles and lights. Once complete, disconnect the power again and install all box and fitting covers. Identify the side of the cover where the twist out needs to be removed. Score the plastic with a utility knife and then gently break the twist out off. Place the cover over the box and snap into place. Secure with supplied screw. Position the direct wire cover so that the snap aligns on the top edge. Rotate down and snap into position. To complete the installation, press the end caps into place. You may need to loosen the cabinet bolt on the fitting in order for the end cap to be pressed on. Once complete, tighten all bolts. Your installation is now complete. To access connections inside the direct wire fitting, you may need to use the included cover removal tool. Remove the end cap and insert the tool in between the cover and the base extrusions. Slide the tool down the track until directly over the direct wire fitting cover. To remove the cover, position your freehand directly below the cover and rotate the tool upwards. Your kitchen layout may vary. There are many different ways that the Adorne under cabinet system can be wired. Consult an electrician when planning your layout to select the best fit for your home.